Good morning, Southeast Minnesota. It's July 29th, 2020, and this is episode 34. Allie, we're kind of quickly coming to the end of July here. That's a little bit hard to believe. Crop stage has really progressed. If you're driving around, a lot of fungicide applications, their applications have been pretty crazy between helicopter and airplanes. And, GDU-wise, we're tracking along pretty good, and we might as well review that quick just to kind of set the stage.
Yeah, so GDU-wise, if we track from April 20th planting dates out of Preston, Minnesota, we're sitting at about 1,593 GDUs. That'd be plus 193 above the average. So, I kind of feel like a broken record because every week we talk about how far ahead of the game we are, but just a really nice place to be sitting. I'd say across the board, most acres are sitting, easily somewhere between VT and R2. Wrapping up a lot of those fungicide applications in most areas, though, do hear some planes and copters out and about yet still, but just nice to be ahead of where we were last year. And you talk about the fact that we're about ready to roll into the month of August here. And it's just crazy to think about the amount of days we still have left yet to fill grain and in a good spot to be sitting. But in terms of what we're seeing out in the field, I think probably the biggest thing, pretty favorable pollination weather all around, but now some of these drier conditions coming in parts of Southeast Minnesota. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, the moisture thing it's kind of unique. If you look at greater Southeast Minnesota, like the district that our entire team, Allie, works in, we have some pockets that are kind of drowning in water right now, and we have some pockets that are extremely dry. And even when you do look at kind of the our local listeners here, even if you do look at some of the rain data from Preston to Harmony, there's like an 8-9 inch gap on the annual. And I think both are kind of feeling the lack of moisture here a little bit. So it will be something that is important. And Allie, when you do look at a corn plant right now, we're still its demand for water is pretty high. I think you got a number there, what a corn plants or a cornfield is using each day here at this stage of the game.
Yeah, between 3 and 4 tenths. So 0.375 inches per day to be exact. So like you said, still a significant demand for water at the point we sit today. And unfortunately, when it comes to the weather, this is just going to have to be a wait and see in terms of if we get some rains coming here in the next week or so. Don't see anything major as of now, but during these summer months, that can change pretty quickly.
Yeah, it certainly can. And we're at a stage, Allie, with a lot of our soil type in Southeast Minnesota. We don't need 15 rains here to finish the crop. 2 timely rains would almost kind of get us over the hump here if they could come at the right time. But we'll keep an eye on that. And in progress wise, just looking at that GDU a little bit here, a little bit closer, and kind of looking way out ahead here. If we can continue at the pace that we're at, and the 15-day forecast looks like a lot of highs close to 80, lows just near 60 or a little below. So we should stay close to averaging 20 a day, but if we can keep the pace that we're trending so far, a 100-day hybrid, that would put us at black layer somewhere around September 12th to the 14th, give or take, which, for a 100-day hybrid, that'd be a great thing. That'd put some of the, 94, 96-day stuff that was planted right away, maybe to black layer, just coming out of Labor Day weekend. And knock on wood, we need it'd really be nice to get an earlier fall here in Southeast Minnesota. And hopefully that trend can continue. Weather's going to be the big story, as we wrap up Fungicide, Allie. That's kind of our last big thing of the year. Yeah, we got to scout for maybe a few soybean aphids, but moving forward, our kind of role agronomically and field functions and activity is done. And now we'll just sit here and let Mother Nature do its thing.
I think, Josh, as we continue to progress on here, so outside of where we sit weather-wise and crop progress-wise, another thing we've been keeping a close eye on is where we're sitting disease-wise, especially in the corn side of things. Any quick takes on what you're seeing in more extreme Southeast Minnesota from a disease standpoint? Yeah,
it's interesting. At Pioneer, we do some computer modeling based on weather data of disease. And when you think about Southeast Minnesota, disease, we think a lot about northern corn leaf blight. We maybe think about anthracnose late causing some stalk problems. And, those are probably some of the bigger diseases we think about. And certainly tar spot is front and center with some of the noise around that. And we'll maybe talk about that a little bit here in the second segment. But the modeling a month or so ago that Pioneer does was really showing gray leaf spot being an issue. And we see gray leaf spot off and on, usually not a big disease. And I was maybe a little skeptical But now as I've really walked fields, it's probably the most prevalent disease we've seen in the corn in southeast Minnesota is gray leaf spot. I haven't seen anything at levels that'll be yield limiting yet. But we still have a long ways to go, Allie, and I think it'll be something that we'll want to keep an eye on here and just see how that progresses. And is that going to be a disease we deal with more and more each year as some of the weather patterns changes. And when we come out of break, we'll talk about other disease a little bit more detail and maybe touch on a few other things.